If faith only shows up on Sunday, it won't survive on Monday. Real faith shows up in decisions, pressure, and everyday responsibilities. We'll talk more about it right after this.
Let's talk about love and marriage, the way that God intended. Life experience, here we share it. The No Fruit Podcast. Singing from any platform. No Fruit Podcast. Will help your spirit transform.
Hey y'all, how are y'all doing today? I hope y'all are doing well. So, you heard Kaffa talk about if faith only shows up on a Sunday, that it won't survive Monday. And I think that is a very interesting and very important part. And I'm saying that because a lot of times we don't know how to get past the wedding. We plan all this stuff. So let me give you this scenario. So on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, some of us who are very, very faithful in going to church, and we got to pick out our Sunday outfits and all that type of stuff. So we preparing for Sunday, and then we go to Sunday, we go to church, and all that type of stuff, and then Monday morning we're not really ready for what's coming ahead, right? So we're not prepared. We're not ready for, we're not prayed up for what's going to meet us at our desk. We're not prayed up for or ready for what's going to meet us at the door, what's going to meet us at the water cooler, or whatever it is. And so now let me relay it back to getting married. So if we preparing to get dressed up and be all beautiful, whatever else for the wedding, and then we get married, and what happens, for most people who get married on a Saturday, we're going to use that example. So what happens on Sunday or Monday? A lot of times we're not ready for that, because that kind of conversation about what happens after that, when Monday morning, now we got to get up and go to work. Monday morning, that first bill, for that loan, for that wedding needs to be paid, or when you got to take that tuxedo back because that tuxedo was rented or that wedding gown was rented or whatever it is, those type of conversations are not always had prior to us getting dressed up and dolled up for the wedding.
Right.
So I think, and I only can speak about my own experiences, with Kaffa, that I know I was not prepared for that Monday morning conversation. I wasn't ready. And some of that's because of, and y'all, those of you who have listened to our story, when Kaffa and I first started dating, we were dating. She was on her own. I wasn't. I was still at home with my mama. So I did not have the responsibility of paying bills. I didn't know what it was to, if we don't hurry up and call Pico, right, or the water company or whatever it might be, our gas is going to get cut off bill-wise. Or we smell gas, so now we need to turn off the gas because, we smell gas, or we need to get a new stove. So what is that process for that gas as well? So there's just using the idea of gas. How many things need to happen on that Monday morning? And so we don't have faith, not only in, God, but also do we have faith in our partner? But do we also have faith in ourselves that we could get it done? I think there's three parts of that. So I'm sorry, Kyle. He
did his soap, box spiel on things. When I look at what we're talking about, I kind of see things a little bit in another way. So again, dealing with having faith on Sunday, we are surrounded by a whole bunch of other faith people on Sunday. You go to church along, just following what you were saying, Maurice. Mm-hmm. You're going to the house of worship with other people who are there for the same purpose and the same reason overall.
Right.
They're there to have a good time in the Lord and meet, God in his house. And, whether you're on the usher board or whether you're just there to attend, or if you're in the choir, or whatever your position is and whatever you have, like Marie said, you're getting yourself ready for Sunday to be around the other faithful. But then when Monday comes and when the rest of the week comes, you may not be surrounded by the faithful.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I said at the top of the show is that real faith shows up in other ways, not you being around the faithful, not you being around others who look and walk like you, who talk like you. You have that faith talk. You have that faith walk. It's easy to repeat those things and become churchified.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And have that holiness talk. But when, as you're saying, Maurice, when the bills are due, when the honeymoon is over, how faithful are you in your marriage? How faithful are you in your spouse? How faithful are you in just dealing with life and what life has to throw its way? The pressures, the everyday things that go on, the responsibilities, and it may not be struggles. It might be, everything might be wonderful.
Right.
But you still have to have faith in the next day, in the next moment, and in yourself. So I think those are some of the things that challenges us and tests us of just what happens day to day. How do we walk day to day in not only as a Christian person, but in our marriage? How do I walk as a wife? How do you walk as a husband? And what does that look like? Having enough faith in yourself that you can do this and you can walk this thing out, and then having enough faith in your spouse. Those are, two different things. So just to unpack a little bit, the faith that you may have in yourself as a newlywed and being with your new spouse, what's that faith look like? Versus, like Maurice and I, we're 25 years in, and, what does that faith look like in us as a married couple? And and he's laughing because faith is challenged in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
We're not necessarily worried about some of the things that people have as newlyweds when it comes to the challenges that you have as newlyweds, or the responsibilities and learning each other and learning yourselves as newlyweds. But we're learning a whole new thing about our own selves.
Yeah, I think, you know what, though? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I think, just to piggyback off of that, I think what happens is that we don't understand that, wow. We don't understand that within this relationship, we are constantly growing. Mm-hmm. And so, oh, wow. So I think what happens is when we talk about faith showing up on Sunday, when you go to church, right? How many of us keep going back with the same issue?
Wow. Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm praying that this bill can get paid. Well, here's what happened, though. You keep picking up that cross, right? Mm. You keep picking up that burden. You keep praying about it. Did you not leave it? Were you not supposed to leave it? But unfortunately, we don't have faith enough. So if that's where our faith really lies, right? We talk about, hey, you know what? We have faith as small as a mustard seed, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to trust in and all these things. Like, if you listen, like, I'm not saying the full line because we get caught up in the first part of that, right?
Right.
And so because we don't get to the point of really who we have to trust in our faith in, because we don't really mean it in some cases. And so now, how can I not have trust? Because I won't even say the name of the person who has all the power, right? Mm-hmm. If I won't say that person's name, how in the world can I say my spouse's name in the same light? That might have the same weight or whatever it is. Because you know why? Because unfortunately, a lot of times we feel like, hey, it's all on me. I got to do it. I have the power. I got, whatever it might be. And so now we don't have that type of faith in that other person. And then we don't have it because we have not seen the examples. People have not put us in place to execute a certain situation. Then we might not even have faith in ourselves. So when I want to prove myself, beat my chest, I can take care of the bills. well, guess what? It was the wrong blanket thing that I could have done.
Say that again.
Blanket.
Oh, goodness.
No, but I mean, be honest, I'm just taking, again, accountability and responsibility for me. I thought that I could. And but.
Did you have faith that you could?
Did I know? Because I had not been in that position, right? And I didn't take it before anybody. I just took it on myself. I squeezed everybody else out of it. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That person that's supposed to be closer than a brother, like, again, all these terms that we say in church, right? And again, I am leaving out the name specifically. I am leaving out the term, the pronouns, the nouns, the adjectives, whatever you want to, because we keep taking the name out of our situations.
Right.
It's a whole play on that. And so now when it's time for me to sit down and work out the bills, well, I don't feel like dealing with, conflict. I don't feel like dealing with you because I know you're going to have an attitude. Well, here's the thing, though. I think what happens is that when it comes to these situations, I think consistency matters.
Mm-hmm.
But are we consistently doing the thing that we don't really want?
Right. What are you consistent on?
Right. So in order for us to have a different mindset, a different way of life, are we developing good habits of prayer, of fasting, of reflection, of gratitude? And I'll give you an example, right? Before I can even get to my Lord and Savior, because sometimes, in all honesty, I mean, we're all human, right? And sometimes we forget that part, right? Mm-hmm. But, I had gone to Kafa recently, and I said, Kafa, you know what? I appreciate you cooking dinner and cleaning up and all that type of stuff. I can, I'm doing what I can, maybe helping to put the food away or whatever it is. So are you even taking the time to say, God, I appreciate you really taking the time to cleaning me up? Are you taking the time, fixing my table before my enemies? Are you showing gratitude for any of those things? And a lot of times we don't do that,
right? Because we're looking for the big thing. We're looking for the wow factor. We're looking for, all of the big things. Like you started, at the top of the show, you had said something about the wedding day. We're looking forward to that. But that's just the beginning of marriage. Like there's a whole lot more to that, and no one really seems to look forward to that part of things.
So let's take the marriage thing, right? So the wedding day, right? So in some cases, the wife has on a dress that she's been holding her breath for the last 8 to 12 hours. So now she's going to come and ask the husband to now just relieve just a little bit, just so she can breathe just a little bit, right? Because she can't reach around and get the buttons. In some cases, not all cases, but some. And I'm saying that because we watch, all the Love is Blind and all that type of stuff, right? And so, but how often have I seen? This is just my own what I've seen on the show. There's not a lot of times where you hear the person just say thank you. Allow me to breathe again. Allow me to take a moment to relax. Because this thing has me all hemmed up and tightened and all that type of stuff. And life can get you like that. And so, I'm sorry, y'all, for my analogies and examples, whatever it is. But I think that's what happens when people, and, if I was on my soapbox, I would be like, that went over somebody's head with this right now. But I think that's what happens, that sometimes we don't understand gratitude. We don't understand consistency. We don't understand, building up these habits of just saying, hey, babe, Even though your hair might be a little bit out of place, but I thank you for at least doing your hair. You get what I mean? Sometimes it's the little things. You know, are you keeping yourself up? Are you keeping, you know, the house straight? Are you, you know, taking, oh, well, you know, there's roles for this, that, and whatever the situation is. I don't care what, I'm not getting into no gender roles and all that type of stuff. It's just a matter of saying, hey, thank you for the part that you play in my life. I'm sorry, Kof.
Yeah, thank you for the part you play in my life, Maurice.
I mean, you hear it. I mean, all right. So now let me say thank you for that. But I want to say something in this as well. There was a point in time where I did not understand Kafa's way of showing or saying thank you. See, sometimes we need to hear the words, but how does that person walk it and talk it every day? Yes, it's good to hear it, right? But sometimes we need to understand that person a little deeper. And sometimes in wedding, like when we first get married, we don't always understand that person's love language, right? You know, and so now I didn't know that Kafa's way of showing appreciation was really, or her modes of showing love or affection, whatever it is, might be just cooking us dinner.
Acts of kindness, or yeah.
You get what I mean? You know, so sometimes, you know, so then if I don't say, hey, Kafa, thank you for cooking us dinner like I did the other night, then does she feel appreciated? And sometimes we don't even take a time to step back and even analyze that. Even if we're in it for 10 to 15 years, I understand if you're in it for 10 to 15 days, you might not know yet because you're still happy-go-lucky. Y'all might still be in the kitchen cooking together. Not realizing like, yo, there's too many people in this kitchen.
Right.
You know, so yeah, we all can't drive this bus. You know, so yeah, again, Kaf, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're good. You're good. You're good.
No. You gotta say something.
I've been saying something.
You gotta say something.
Something.
Yeah, you gotta say something.
Something.
Yeah, something. You know, but I think that's some of the things that, you know, we just need to understand. Just, you know, if you're talking about having faith, if we're talking about, you know, when it's showing up, you know, in our decisions, when we're having those pressure moments, and when we're having, you know, whatever responsibilities, you know, of just being consistent.
So what does faith mean to you?
What does faith mean to me?
Yeah.
It just means believing in something that that's bigger and better than me, I guess. You know, that's the best way I could put it. And believing that is going to, like I have faith that I'm going to turn this car on every time I push the button.
Right. I have faith that I sit in this seat is going to hold me up. And
even though it keeps creaking, right?
Yes.
But as long as it don't creak 3 times in a row, I'll be okay.
I don't care if it creaks 3 times in a row or more than that.
Right.
As long as when I go to have a seat, that it provides me that. Right. And I'm not on the floor.
Right. You know, so do I believe that, or do I have faith enough that I'm going to make it through these situations? And sometimes I got, again, me being me, I don't always have that faith.
Right. And I think at times that's okay, to not necessarily lose your faith, but have some ups and downs, questioning, you know, things, because that's real life. You know, I think sometimes we get in the car and we're like, is this going to start today? You know, you may not always have so much faith in it. You know, faith in your relationship that, hey, this is going to last for until death do us part. Right. You know, it can sometimes look a little rocky and a little questionable. Right. And that's okay. But just, you know, my advice, I guess, don't pick up and leave. Like, you know, don't leave the car there because you're not sure if it's going to start. For instance, my little car, I'm very, very happy for it. I'm very blessed to have this car. It's been around for a while. It's old.
Mm-hmm.
It's trusty,
Mm-hmm.
but it has this issue where the lights come on the inside of the dash after I get gas.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does.
And, at first it was alarming to have the check engine light come on. And I remember one time I think I called the mechanic and I was like, the check engine light's on and I'm on the highway. What am I supposed to do? He's like, is it flashing?
Yeah, right.
I was like, no. He's like, okay, well, you're okay.
Right.
You can at least get to work. So, again, and with all of that, how trusting and how much faith or belief do I have in that car to get me from point A to point B? Because we've had some issues with it.
Mm-hmm.
Stuck on the road, stuck trying to get on the road. It's had some ups and some downs. So, but I faithfully get up every morning and leave out around the same time, faithfully trusting that when I go down and put my key in that car, that it's going to start.
So I'm a piggyback off of that real quick because
Yes.
I remember this one time where your car had some challenges and I had to go and meet you near your job.
That's what I said. It's stuck on the road.
But do you remember the storm that was coming in?
That was a mighty storm.
And so it was interesting for us to be stuck in this car and to watch the storm come in through that. And here's the thing, though. The tow truck that had to come and get her car was transporting the car in the storm.
Yes. But the storm...
It started, as we were getting closer to its destination, it started to subside a little bit
Yes.
more. And so here's the thing. No matter what the storm is, and even if you see it coming, are you faithful enough that even through the storm, that you're still going to be taken care of?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what happens. Sometimes we look at the storm and we don't know that. We don't see that. We don't understand that even though we're in the car.
Yes.
We're looking at the storm all around us. But guess what? We're not in the storm. We at least have a little bit of shelter. We're at least dry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we still might have been looking for help, and have faith enough and believe enough that, hey, this tow truck is going to come, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even in the midst of the storm. So how many of y'all believe that in the midst of the storm that you're going to be brought out on the other side of that? Whether it is your Lord and Savior, whether it is, your spouse, even yourself, that you're going to still make it. So, I'm sorry, again, you keep opening up the door.
No, it's fine. Go ahead, walk on in, preacher man. Do your thing. Do your thing. Let the Lord use you. Hallelujah. I guess one thing I want everyone to think about is that, many people sometimes feel disconnected from things, disconnected from God, disconnected from our jobs, disconnected from our spouse. And a lot of times it's not because of belief. It's not because of what we think. But sometimes it's because we don't know how to connect and how to live out our faith on a daily basis.
Right.
It's like that's why I was asking Maurice, like, what is faith? It's what you believe. And it can look differently day by day according to what you believe that day. And what you...
No, what, God? No, I need to be steadfast. I need to be like a rock. I can't be moved.
Well, no, you're not supposed to be moved in God, but, other things can wave from one side to another side. One day you wake up and you are happy and everything feels great. And another day it may not. And it's okay to feel that way. But just, know that there's going to be another day coming. And that's just what I would say.
And I hear you, Papa, but here's the thing, though, right? So you're saying that I should be able to have some kind of grace or mercy for myself in that situation, because a lot of times, we don't get that. We don't know what that looks like. Somebody might say, I don't care. Shut up, get up, get moving, get cracking, whatever it might be. Because we are lacking in that faith space. More importantly, we're lacking in trusting the person next to us. You know, and so, and a lot of times, and here's the thing though, a lot of times we don't have the example in front of us to know how to get that part done.
Or we don't see it.
Right.
You know, I think we have examples.
Maybe not very close to us to see it on an everyday basis.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or we have examples that are not as strong as what they may appear to be.
Or again, as I said before, I think with faith and with life, we want these big things to happen. We want the bells, the whistles, we want the fireworks to happen when we meet our spouse. We want the, you know, accolades and all of these things. And it may not be that way.
Yeah, it may not.
You know, so again, what are you looking for?
Right.
And it may be very well right there next to you. What are you looking for? It very well may be right there in front of you. What are you looking for? It may be right there within you. As Maurice always says, check that thing. Look at the man in the mirror.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Check that thing. You know, so that's kind of all I had to say. What you got to say?
We thank y'all very much for tuning in today. Because I think Kafa just ended it off. I saw a post the other day where they said they don't like tag team preaching anymore.
I don't see that very often anymore.
Yeah, they said they don't like it. I don't see it that often either, but I wonder if that's what today's episode was.
A tag team preaching?
Yeah. I guess maybe not.
Okay. Maybe not.
Yeah. But we thank y'all very much for listening today. And we hope y'all continue to tune in.
Yes, please listen for the next episode. And until the next episode, listen to all the old episodes that you may have missed.
So make it a daily habit to listen to us.
Yes. And have faith that we'll be here next time.
We'll talk to y'all.
Bye.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the No Fruit Podcast, where we bring you fruitful conversations, ripened wisdom, and love that's deeply rooted. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who could use a little inspiration in their day. Until next time, stay rooted in love, and remember, every seed you plant today shapes the fruit of tomorrow.